Hey guys, welcome to episode number 51 of OG Toys. We're going to continue to look at some of the Play Arts Kai collection that I got, and we're going to take a look at Metal Gear Solid Snake, and Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. It's a Jungle Combat Fatigues edition figure. Man, it's a mouthful. But both these guys are based on their video game counterparts and faithfully represented here in plastic form. Now, both these figures, in comparison to my other Play Arts Kai figures, they're huge. And I mean huge. These guys are cruising in at the 10-inch figure mark. And I would say even almost 11 inches on the new Solid Snake from the 25th anniversary collection. Impressive though, but they don't mix well with my other figures. So if you take a look at, say, I don't know, let's take a look at Emil from Halo Reach, who's going to be coming up very shortly. Look at the size difference between those guys. It is massive. This doesn't work, unfortunately. I guess they want to put the Solid Snake, the Metal Gear stuff, in a separate category of articulated height. I don't know. But, man, it's a shame. I would love to have these guys all in the same freaking scale. Oh well, not a huge deal breaker, but these guys are massive. I just picked up Solid Snake, I'd say less than a month ago, and I just haven't got around to reviewing him yet because I had so many other things to review. But he is just spectacular. Definitely on the hunt for the Cyborg Ninja. That's the other figure that's in this assortment. I haven't found him whatsoever. I'm be hitting a couple comic shops tomorrow, and hopefully I'll be able to find one. We'll see. And this other figure, the Peace Walker in the Jungle Fatigues, when I first saw it, I was actually going to be a birthday present for someone. But I ended up keeping it for myself, and I got my friend another really cool gift. But man, I was shocked how good this figure is. Huge Metal Gear Solid fan. Love the games. Played the heck out of all of them. Had the Peace Walker on my old PSP as well. Pretty darn cool. And wow, let's just take a deeper look at these figures, and let's start off with the newest figure, the Play Arts Metal Gear Solid 25th Anniversary Solid Snake. And like I said, this figure is massive. He is a good 11 inches, and he just towers over the rest of the figures. But this figure is special. I would definitely call it a throwback to a different type of action figure. You know, you pay about $60 for these figures. I got mine for $60. It was $59.99, and you're impressed with the just scale, articulation, and the closest thing we've got to a figure being produced in this version of Snake was back from the McFarlane days when they made some Metal Gear Solid figures, and they produced a really kick-ass Cyborg Ninja and Solid Snake figure. He looked like this, but of course, this one is 1,000 times better, and he just looks phenomenal. Now, some of the cool things, he's got his gun, he's got his assault rifle here, and what's really nice, it has this strap. So you can strap it around his shoulder, or you can strap it around his chest, whatever the case, and you can hold it into place pretty well. Pretty basic gun, you know, it's just your regular machine gun. It's got a black, dull finish to it. Pretty darn cool though. What I do like is his pistol. Now his pistol, you can see there's the classic handgun he incorporates throughout the all three games. He's got the removable silencer here. That comes off, and what's cool, this actually does go into his hand holster. It fits in his hand extremely well, and you can go into his holster which he has on the side. And what I like about that is you can reattach the scope very easily. And it actually goes in without, you know, having to take the scope off. So that's cool. I like the way they did that. It just slides in here. You do have an opening at the bottom of the holster, so you can just slide it in. Boom, it's in, and it's secure. Now the figure itself, the sculpt is pretty damn awesome. Like, take a look at the face. That is, you know, Solid Snake right from that video game. Beautiful interpretation, and heck, you can even move around his headband. It has a small little plug, on the back of his head, and you can just move it around any way you like. Does have massive legs. I thought Chun-Li's legs were big on that Street Fighter figure, but this guy has some solid meaty legs, and it just gives him that overall look, a beefy, buffed up covert operative. It looks just awesome. A lot of a lot of extra kind of creases throughout the pants. You can see it kind of ruffling in the shoulder or in the arms here as well. They did a phenomenal job on the sculpt. He's got these huge pouches on his belt, another huge one in the back here. Very cool. Now, for articulation, this guy is absolutely loaded with articulation. Now, he does have a ball jointed neck. Does have a really good range of motion. Goes quite far up. Good bend here. He does have this collar as well, but that's part of the articulated neck, so it doesn't impede the movement whatsoever. He does have ball jointed shoulders. He's got a good range of motion there. Now he doesn't have that extra hinge here to give him that extra little oomph when he's holding his gun, but he got a pretty good section here. You can see that. You can get some pretty good movement. You can hold his hands pretty close. He can put his gun in his hand, no problem. He does have articulation in the torso and in the waist as well, so that's cool. He's got, oh sorry guys, he does have the ratchet elbow, and he does have no bicep cut, which I thought was pretty weird. He does have really good articulation in the wrist. He's at full 360, and of course these hands are removable, and he does come with 2 additional hands, which are simply closed fists. That's it. So that's kind of cool though. Now for his leg articulation, he does have full 360 ball jointed hip. He's got the double jointed ratchet knees, so it's very nice to see that. He does have another ratchet in the ankle with a full 360 ball joint as well. A lot of clicks, but he's nice and tight joints. He looks fantastic. The gun fits well into his hand as well. Either hand can hold the gun. As you can see, you can put this around his shoulder if you like and just carry it like that, or you can even wrap it around his neck if you feel that way and you want to wrap it around. But this figure, you know, the only thing I'm going to say bad about it is height. Man, this figure's way too big compared to everyone else. I don't know. Let me know if you got the Cyborg Ninja. Is that figure as big as this one as well? If it is, I guess they're setting the Metal Gear figures apart from the rest of the Player's Kai line and just keeping them in their own scale. Which is kind of stupid, I think, but that's where they want to go. Alright, I'll still probably buy them anyways. These figures are amazing. But this is a fantastic figure. Really well done. $60 at my local comic book shop. And I'm going to say well worth every penny. Now let's take a look at the Peace Walker version of Snake. Now this figure's sculpt is really tight. I mean, he's got a really cool vintage look, because Peace Walker was done, you know, not in current times, but he's pretty darn cool. The only thing I thought was weird on this figure is the floods. Like take a look at his pants. He's got floods. I don't know why. I mean, just a couple more inches, especially to hide the ball joint that you see in his ankle. But, oh well, not a huge deal. Still, great paint job though. And even these straps here, when I first saw this figure, I'm like, are those cloth straps? It's just such a nicely done sculpt on this figure. Very cool. Now, he does have a couple weird things for articulation, which I'll get to in a sec, but the sculpt is just beautiful. The head, especially, they did a fantastic job on the figure's head. You know, he's got the patch, he's got the headband, the nice hair. He doesn't have an articulated bandana, you can't move it though. He does have that cool logo right there on his shoulder. Now he does have, of course, the handgun. You'd think it would have that extra barrel there for like the silencer, but it doesn't. And it fits in his hand quite well. He does have another additional hand, which is just another trigger figure hand. So it probably fits the pistol a little better. This fits the machine gun quite well. And this gun does slide into the holster. I'll show you that real quick. Okay, there we go. She's in, tight. These pouches here do kind of get in the way of that holster a little bit, but not too bad. And then he does have the other machine gun here. You know, it's pretty much just a plain design. Very realistic though, but the paint apps, you know, Not much to it. It's just pretty much plain black. And he does have this knife here. Now this has come off repeatedly. And for some reason it's staying on real nice now. But this thing just pops off like you wouldn't believe. So, but he does have this either taser blade or something like that. But it just goes into his chest here. Into the sheath, which is nice. And it stays in position. I'm surprised. This thing usually pops out. I haven't super glued it or anything. But it's in super tight now. Very cool though. Just the overall look of the figure is just pretty damn awesome. I really like the way they sculpted the figure. The black here, the shoulder pads, give it a bit more definition. The hands. Now the hands are a little different here. Now the newer figures, because this figure is probably about at least a year and a bit old, the newer figures do have just a small little peg, and they come in and off easily. This one here has an actual ball jointed hand. You can see there, it's got a thicker opening. Now I have heard a couple of my friends, other friends have this figure, and they've had some issues with the hand staying in place and then popping off. Haven't had any problem like that with my figure, so thankfully I got a good one here. But he is impressive. I definitely like the way he looks. Very cool. There is some other Metal Gear Solid figures that have come out. There's a Combat Fatigue one with a removable alternative head that has a faceplate that I'm probably going to pick up next. That one's really cool. It's been at my comic store for a long time. It's just bugging me, sitting there, taunting me. I got to get it. And we'll take a look at some of the articulation that this guy has. So for articulation, the ball jointed head, that's as far up as it looks, so it's not a huge range of motion there, but you can look down, and of course a 360 all the way around. Now for shoulder articulation, it does have a ball jointed shoulder. It does have, you know, not the greatest range. That's just pretty much as far as it goes. And even up, not a lot of movement there. He does have a ratchet elbow. Does have the bicep cut, which is nice, and of course a 360 on the hand and the ball joint there, so you can move it around quite well. He does have an articulated joint in the chest. He does have a little bit of waist articulation, but again, all these belts and straps do impede a bit of the articulation. Of course, this thing does fall off now. You can see it just has those little slots there, so you can push it back in. Might just super glue that in, so I doubt if I'll ever take that out. But it looks kind of cool with it. Now for the legs, even with all the pouches, he does have pretty good articulation there. Now another thing I thought kind of weird, does have the double jointed knee, but man, look at that joint. That is one ugly joint. Wow. And it's weird how he has, you can see there, that kind of thing here with the leg. So that's the only thing I really thought was kind of awkward about the figure, you know, and the floods. The floods are weird. That's the only thing I really found flawed in the figure. Otherwise, the sculpt is phenomenal. The head sculpt looks fantastic. The machine guns are cool. You know, he's a great looking figure. No question about that. If you love Metal Gear Solid, you love Solid Snake, Big Boss, you know, this is a figure that you want to add to your collection without a doubt. Now, between the two figures, this guy, who's, you know, over a year and a bit old, comparing it to your new version here of the first version of Solid Snake that appeared in the very first video game, you know, again, the height difference is huge. He's got a good inch on him for sure, inch and a bit. The only thing I wish they would have kept him in scale, but otherwise, both figures are phenomenal. They both have their pluses. Really only minus in the newer figure of Solid Snake is the height, and Peace Walker does have some weird joints in the leg, and the floods are strange, but I love the head sculpt. So both these figures, you know, if you're a big fan of the Metal Gear figures, games, no brainer, pick these up. You're not going to be disappointed. But if you're selective, you know, maybe hold off. Maybe they can find them on sale. I kind of doubt it because these figures sell pretty darn quick, even for $60, $50. It's ridiculous. But I'm glad they produce them. You know, they've been producing some very high quality video game figures. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you like what you're seeing. I think I got a couple more Player Kai figures in the collection I want to show off. And then we're going to move on to some mini-mates. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching, guys. See ya.